sure you keep yourself safe, do whatever you feel comfortable doing, and just to enjoy the class, hopefully. So standing nice and tall, first of all, let's just find a really nice standing posture. Heels underneath your knees are underneath your hip bones. So your legs are fairly narrow, really. Just look down at your feet, make sure that they're not turned outwards or inwards. Then line the feet up so they're parallel facing forwards, lifting up through the top of your head, opening shoulders, chest, collarbones wide, making sure you're not pushing your rib cage up, it's just gently drawing down. And just lengthen your tail, just like you're trying to just reach your tailbone down towards your heels behind you. Bring your shoulders forwards up by your ears, just slide your shoulder blades down towards the base of your spine. Just tip your head to one side, straighten up, tip your head to the other side, and straighten up, just making sure your head's directly in between your shoulders, and just gently tuck your chin in so it's more or less parallel. So you've got a nice neutral spine, your neck's in line with your spine, and then we can make that connection to your center. So just drawing in, so closing the space in between your hip bones and lifting up from your pelvic bone towards your belly button. So you've got that support around your center. Nice and gentle warm up. So as you breathe in, we're just going to slowly just reach your arms wide to the sides. And as you breathe out, bring your arms back down again. So as you breathe in, remember to try and breathe into the sides of your rib cage. So your arms are going to go wide, your ribs are just expanding gently sideways, your ribs draw in and down as your arms come back down by your sides. Let's do that once more, big deep breath, reaching wide to the sides, feel your shoulder blades sliding down towards the base of your spine as your arms come down by your sides. Let's see if we can just lift the heels away from the floor this time, coming onto the balls of your feet as you reach your arms wide, and then slowly release your heels as your arms come down. Arms come wide, heels lift. So just find your balance slow and controlled, slowly coming back down again. So let's take the arms forward this time, in line with your shoulders, and right up over your shoulders as we lift the heels off the floor. And then just slowly keep that distance the same between your arms. Bring your arms down by your sides as your heels release. Breathing in, floating the top of your head up towards in, trying to keep your shoulders away from your ears. Just find your balance nice and slowly. The arms are going to come down as your heels release. Let's do that once more. So just remembering, as always, how important it is to find your balance, to keep practicing our balance. And then slowly arms come down as your heels release. Side bend, breathe in as we breathe out. The left fingertips are going to reach down towards the outside of your leg as the right elbow is going to pull up towards the ceiling. And then bring your arms down by your sides and go the other way. If you want to slide your hands, you can keep your hand in contact with the side of your body if you want to. Otherwise, just let this left arm hang from your shoulder and the right arm hang from your elbow. So keep going with that. And then let's build on that just a little bit. Let's reach the left arm wide to side as the right elbow pulls up. And just look along your fingertips. And then lengthen both the arms along by your side and go the other way. Your left elbow pulls up and your right arm reaches wide to the side. Do that once more each way, trying to stand squarely in both of your feet. So keeping that stability underneath your footprints. Arms come down by your sides, look forward, and then just roll your shoulders, slide your shoulder blades back and down. Let's bring our arms forward, and then your arms are shoulder height, shoulder width apart. We're going to do a bow and arrow, so see a bit of rotation in the spine. Breathe in. As you breathe out, your left elbow bend it, and then pull the elbow back towards the wall behind you. Just follow the elbow with your eyes, and just try and keep your hips still facing forwards. Breathing in, we're going to glide the arm back through, back to where we started, and then extend your right elbow, bend it so your hand just slides past your chest, pulling the elbow back, and bring the arm back through, long arms in front, and go again. So that rotation in your spine, keeping the spine long, just a little bit of mobility through your neck, but your hips stay square to the front as best as they can. So again, we're standing firmly with both of our footprints, keeping that stability underneath our feet. One last time, let's pull back, glide the arm forward, and then your right elbow, pull it back, and glide the arm forwards. Bring your arms down by your sides, breathe in. As you breathe out, let's come into our squat. So long neck, long spine, sitting back and down. Squeeze into your glutes, push into your heels as you stand tall. And then go again, sit back and down, long neck, long spine, reach, because you don't need to come this deep, just a little bend in the knees if that's too much for you. I'm just standing sideways, just so you can see that deep sitting back and down, but reaching forwards without rounding your spine. Coming out of that, let's make that a little bit bigger if you can. So we're going to reach forward, then just see if we can sit a little bit deeper. Just bring your arms up towards the ceiling. As you breathe in, straighten your legs, reach your fingertips to the ceiling, circle your arms wide to the side, pull your shoulder blades down towards your hips, bend the knees, reaching up, sitting down, pushing into your feet, fingertips to ceiling, long legs, long spine. And then let's do that twice more. Breathing in, reach away, reach wide, pull your arms down. And last time, so lots of opening up of your shoulders and your chest, but stretch as we slowly bring the arms all the way down and down both sides. And roll your shoulders. Let's see if we can just challenge our balance again, just a little bit. So maybe just feel a deeper connection through those abdominals, which are going to help you stabilize. Breathe in as you breath. Can we lift the arms up over your shoulders? Either just lift your right heel off the floor, or if you can, see if you can bring your right knee right up in line with your hips. Stay reaching up with the arms. See if we can stay here and just circle your ankle. A few circles one way and then a few circles the other way. Then keep your knee high if you can. Take your arms wide to side and bring them down, and then slowly put your foot down on the floor. Try not to collapse. Let's do the same. Let's reach the arms up and either just peel your left heel off the floor and stay with your toes on the floor. See if you can bring the knee up in line with your hip, standing firmly into that one leg. Then keeping the arms up, just circle your ankle. And then a few circles the other way. And then keep that knee up, put your foot down. If you need to slowly take your arms wide and down, and then put your foot back down on the floor. So that's something we can practice every day. So really practicing our balance so we get better at it. So let's go to the back end of your right now, unless you're there already. So just making sure you've got the length of the mat in front of you. We're going to do our forward flexion now. So really try and mobilize our spine. But if you've moved anywhere, just make sure that your heels are still underneath your knees and your hip bones. Find that just a little bit of softness in the knees. Shoulders back and down. Breathe in as you're up. Just let your chin fall towards your chest first of all, and then down we go. Bend your knees a lot. If you've got back issues, bend your knees and maybe only go a third or half the way down. If you're happy to, let's go all the way down. So you're looking towards your legs as you go down. And then breathe in as you breathe out, slowly coming back. If you want support, just put your hands on your thighs. That will just help you. Otherwise, your arms just hang freely from your shoulders. Look forward, just take a little bit of a stretch as we're standing tall. Bring your arms up towards the ceiling. Take a look up at the ceiling, reaching up. And then look forwards. Take your arms wide to the side. Bring your arms slowly down by the side of your hips. Let's go down again. So navel draws in towards the spine as we come down. So with your hands on your thighs, with your knees bent if you need to. Coming down to the top of your head is pointing towards the floor. Slowly, let's come up again. Make sure all the while you're pulling your abdomen inwards. So that's going to help look after your back. As we articulate or mobilize our spine, breathing in, let's lift the arms up. Let's reach the ceiling again. It's like you just try to pick something off the ceiling, looking up. Arms come wide. We're going to look forwards. Sweep the arms slowly down by your sides. And last time, chin to chest, down we go. So if we're going to come, it's not coming up again this time. So big bend in the knees if you need to. When your hands get towards the floor, let's put our hands on the mat, on the inside edges of the mat, so your wrists are under your shoulders. Bend your knees a little bit more. Just gently walk yourself forward. Bring your hands into a parallel position, and then drop your knees down onto the floor underneath your hips. So we're square in our tabletop position. Just feel that levelness across your shoulders and your hips, and try not to arch the spine or dip it. The spine is in its neutral, natural shapes. We always have natural curves in our spine, some of us bigger ones than others. But the most important thing is that we're keeping length in our spine, so you'll reach your top of your head forwards and your tail behind you. and your shoulder blades are back and down. And then again, just lifting. Just imagine there's something really hot sitting on the mat underneath your abdominals. So we're going to really try and lift our tummy in. So we're just bringing our tummy away from that heat. So scooping in, maintaining that. So we can breathe into our upper body. We're going to start to mobilize. Take it nice and slow. You breathe in. As you breathe out, just slide your right foot along the floor. Then just lift it up, reaching through your toes. And then slowly breathing in, lower the foot down and slide the knee back in underneath your hip. And let's do the same. The left foot, slide it along the floor and then just lift it up. And lower the foot down and slide the knee in. Let's do that once more each side. So notice that my spine, my neck, my hips and my shoulders haven't moved a tiny little bit. All we're doing is moving through the hip, extending the leg out of the hip. So slide the foot first, so find that length and then lift it up. Then lower it down and slide the knee back in. So you might want to stay with that. So we're going to add in the opposite arm to the leg that's extending away. So breathe in as you breath, slide the right foot and the left hand along the floor, and then just lift the arm up in line with your shoulder, the leg in line with your hip. Inhaling, hand and foot lower down, we slide them. If you want to just keep your hand and foot on the floor, just slide them away and keep them there. You don't need to lift them up. If you can, lift them up away from the mat and lower them down and slide back in. So it's just a very nice slow swim. Lift and coming back in. And let's do that once more. Right arm, left leg reaching away through your fingertips and your toes. And then your hand is going to come down onto your shoulder. Sorry, your knee underneath your hip. Let's just stretch the spine a little bit here. Keep your hands and knees where they are. Breathe in as you breath. Tuck your tailbone under. Scoop your tummy in. Round your spine. Chin to chest, tail tucks under. Cat stretch. Breathing in, let's go the other way. So let your sit bones tip up towards the ceiling. We dip the spine down towards the floor. Chest is forward and your eye gaze is forward. And then just again, let's find that length back into your tabletop position. So I'm going to build on that. So if you can, drop down onto your forearms. So now your elbows are where your wrists were. So we just take a little bit of the weight out of your wrists. So your elbows are directly underneath your shoulders. Your hands are up flat on the floor. And again, we're going to work the legs, the glutes and hips, just keeping our spine and our necks really long. So try not to allow your chest to sink like this in between your shoulders. Feel long in your neck and your spine. Let's start with the right leg. So let's slide the right foot along the floor, just as we did before. And then just lift that leg up, not too high. So you're reaching your toes towards the wall behind you. And then breathe in as you back. Can you start to draw some very little circles in the air with your toes at that right foot? So now we're just getting a little bit of rotation around our hip. We'll just do 5 each way. 4 and 5. Come to the top of that last circle. If you can, take the circles around the other way. Again, keep your spine and neck long, keep the tummy pulling in, just gently pressing into your arms and your hands to stabilize. So it's really nice mobility exercise, strengthening the hips and the glutes as well. Bend your right knee, just check you're putting it right underneath your right hip, then look forwards there. Maybe you're just looking in between your wrists here. Slide the left leg away, reach through your toes and lift the leg up, not too high, and then draw some circles in the air with your left foot. So just imagine you've got a pencil on your big toe, and you're just trying to draw circles on it all behind you with that pencil. Try not to lean over to one side or the other. And let's draw 5 circles in the other direction. Just feel that in your hip, in your glutes, in your leg. 4 and 5. Perfect. Put your knee down on the floor, and then walk your hands to your knees, and let's just high kneel, so that high kneeling position. Just roll your shoulders, a few shoulder rolls one way, a few shoulder rolls the other way, just checking on line. And then maybe you might want to circle your wrists, a few circles in each direction there as well, just get some warmth into your wrist joints with your fingers maybe. And then let's come down, back onto our hands and knees. We're going to lie all the way down, so taking the weight out of our wrists, arms and our shoulders. Bring yourself gently all the way down, and we're going to lie on our fronts. So first of all, we'll work the legs only like we did in our swimming on our hands and knees just now. We're going to work the legs first of all, and then we can add in the arms. So we're going to stack your hands, rest your forehead lightly on the backs of your hands, draw the elbows down just a little bit, so the elbows are a little bit lower than the level of your stacked hands. So then we can draw the shoulder blades back and down towards your hips. So your forehead just rests very lightly on your hands. Make sure your legs are lengthened long behind you, heels, knees, and your hip bones are in a neutral alignment. So like when we were standing, so you've got those tram lines through your hips reaching away. Somebody's just put a big, oh no, not a big one, a little ball of air underneath your belly button. So a little airbag, so suck your tummy in. So feel that lift of your tummy away back from the top of your pelvic bone, even maybe a little bit beyond your belly button. So we're really trying to lift up through the middle, away from the mat, and just gently feel your pelvis, just gently pressing down into the floor so we can keep the lower back open. We should, I think, be ready to start moving. So breathe in. As you breathe, we're just going to lengthen the right leg and just lift it slowly away from the floor, not too high that you lift your hip. Breathing in, gently let that leg come back down, making sure the heel stays in line with your sit bone. Then exhale, lengthen the left leg, lift it up. So you'll feel the hip open at the front. Just a little bit of stretch in that front hip flexor as we lift and lower leg. So let's keep it really nice and slow, trying to relax your arms, your shoulders, your chest. So it's quite easy to tense up the upper body. So keep your shoulder blades wide. Keep that lift through your middle, away from the mat. And let's do one more like that with the left leg. Keep both of your legs on the floor in that same position. We're just going to slide our hands, only optional, keep your hands where they are, otherwise slide your hands overhead. Turn your palms inwards to face each other. And then again, just make sure you're pulling your shoulder blades back and down. Nose is just hovering off the floor. Breathe in. This time, as you lift your right leg, we're just going to lift the left arm away from the floor and lower the arm and the leg. So your nose is just hovering off the mat, opposite arm, opposite leg. Legs only if it's too much, adding any arms, or arms only if you want to. So remember, we all have lots of different options or ways. So all we're doing is lifting the arm from the shoulder and the leg from the hip. So reaching the leg out, not your knee. So try never to lock out your knee joints and rest if you need to. Let's do 2 more of those each side if you can. Just feel like you're trying to reach the top of your head forwards. So keeping your neck nice and long. Was it once more each side? Was it? I'm asking you. It is once more each side. And then bring your arms and your legs down. Just slowly, just slide your hands underneath your forehead. Relax your forehead onto your hands. Relax the whole of your body into the mat. So just feel like your mat is just trying to swallow you up. And just take a breath or two there, just to release those muscle groups we've just been challenging. So in your own time, from there, just slide your hands underneath your shoulders. Push yourself up onto your hands and knees. See if we can just round the spine just a little bit, and then just pull your sit bones or sit back towards your heels. It doesn't matter if you can't reach your heels. You can slide your hands in if you want to and let your forearms rest on the floor. Just releasing off. So just feel that opening of your lower back there. And so just a little bit of flexion into your spine. And then come up onto your hands and knees. Let's do our side work, some work on our side today next. So lie, or it doesn't matter which side you choose to lie down on. Lie on one side or the other. So we're going to find a really nice lying down posture here. So we always want to think we've got that balance both sides of the body when you're lying on your side. Except for your arms. So extend your bottom arm long. If you've got a cushion or anything at home, you could put a cushion or a block between your head and your upper arm, or you could put your head on a cushion and have your bottom arm forwards in line with your chest if you prefer, or you can just do what I'm doing and extend your bottom arm long, rest your head on your biceps. So lots of options there. As long as your neck feels supported, you're not putting any pressure into your neck joints. So the knees are going to be bent, so sweep the heels towards your sit bones and think about the back of your mat being a guideline. Line your heels up with your sit bones and your shoulders. So we stack shoulders, hips, knees and feet. And just remember, we need to try and keep both sides of the waist long. So try and scoop your inside waist away from the mat. So along that side, bottom side and top side of your waist. Scooping in, so again, that lifting up sensation through your abdominals, that pulling in. Or maybe you might want to think about scooping up or lifting up your pelvic floor, so that big pulling up sensation. That will give you that same support around your middle. So we're going to either put your top hand on your hip, or top arm can be long, resting on your top of your thigh, or you can put your fingertips on the floor in line with your chest. You chose. If you've got your hand on your hip like me, then your elbows pointing up towards you, and then we know that our shoulders are stacked one on top of the other. So we're going to start to move now. So climb first of all, so keep your feet together. Breathe in, as you breathe out, we're just going to pull the top knee away from the bottom knee. And as you breathe in, we're slowly going to close. Pull away, maybe just try and squeeze your top glute a little bit, or even just squeeze your heels together as you open the knee. So you'll feel a little bit more activation around your glute and into your hip. Let's do that again, exhaling, open. Inhale, slowly close, once more like that, and you can stay with this throughout if you want to. Next option, your knees are closed. We're just going to lift the heels up towards ceiling, so your feet and your knees are still together. Now keep your feet together exactly the same. Exhale, open the top knee, keep your feet together, and inhale and close. So this is level 2, the second level of our clamp. So your feet are off the floor, so your bottom leg is just slightly active here. Probably not too much difference between those two sequences, but still pull the knee away and gently close the knee. So we're going to add in a leg extension now. You can do this with your feet on the floor or your heels off the floor, you choose. Breathe in, as you breathe out, pull the top knee away from the bottom knee. As you breathe in, just extend your top leg away, like you reach your toes towards the wall behind your foot. And then keep the knees wide as you bring your feet back together again, and then close the top knee. Pull the top knee away, feet together, straighten your top leg away, bring your feet back together and close the knee. Let's do that all. You can start to feel those muscles we're using. Open, extend, knees wide, feet together and close. And last time, nearly there, open, stretch, feet together and close the knee. Then let your heels drop down onto the floor. So our top leg is just sitting on top of your bottom leg. The bottom leg's not going to do any work at all now. We're just going to float the top leg slightly away from the bottom leg. So your knee and your heel are in that same alignment. So your top leg is a mirror of your bottom leg, in other words. Breathing in, we're just going to gently bring the knee in towards the chest. And as you breathe out, keep the shape of the leg the same. The knee is going to slide past the level of the bottom knee. Breathing in, just to feel your hip closing, it flexing your hip, and feel your hip opening as the knee goes slightly behind. So the only movement here is through your hip, forwards and backwards. So you might really start to feel this a little bit of a burn in your hip after doing those clams. So quite a lot of activity around your hips. So if it becomes too much at any time, not going to be too many more of these. 3 more if you can. Gliding your knee forward, gliding it behind. 2 more. Oof. And last time. Doesn't need to do too much, do we, to really activate those muscles. Then bring that top knee forward, just let it rest on the floor in front of your bottom hip. Roll your top hip off your bottom hip. So now just feel those muscles really switching off, hopefully. And just taking a moment just to really release those hips and glutes. Take a breath or 2 there. Let's slowly bring ourselves up. And switch your legs over to the other side, and let's do those sequences on the other side. So again, just take your time, don't rush. Head on your bicep cushion, you choose where your head is resting, as long as your neck's more or less in line with your spine. The heels are drawing around towards your sit bones, hips, shoulders, knees and feet are stacked. Pull in again, or just try and lift your inner waist or sideways, scoop it off the floor. So again, think we're trying to find that symmetry both sides of the body, except for our arms, of course. Hand on your hip, 5 fingertips on the floor. Engage your abdominals, so pull them in, lift them up. Or again, just think about maybe scooping up your pelvic floor. Breathe in. As you breathe out, just pull the top knee gently away from your bottom knee and breathing in close. So your feet stay together, maybe squeeze your glutes a little bit, or even just squeeze your heels together as you open and close the knee. So that will just give you a little bit more activity around that hip. So you don't need to make this movement too big. We're going to keep that top hip completely still so it's not rolling forwards or backwards. Then that last time, number 4 of those basic clams. And then with your knees on the floor, just lift your heels up towards the ceiling. If you want to, keep them down if you would prefer to. Excuse me, off you go. Exhale, open. And inhale, close. It's a really smooth pull away. And a very slow, smooth release. 3. Heels down anytime you need to. Then we're going to add in those leg extensions as an option. Heels up or down, you can still do the, the leg extensions with the heels on the floor. Exhale, open the knee. Inhale, stretch that top leg away. Long, long leg. Knees as wide as your feet come back together and close. Pull away. Extend. Feet together and close the knees. Just 2 more like that. And that very last one. And then you're just going to bring your knees together and put the feet down on the floor. So that last little bit to do. If you remember, we just floated the top leg away from the bottom leg. So your top leg is now a mirror of your bottom leg. Breathing in, the knee comes in towards the chest. And breathing out, the knee glides past your bottom knee. Opening up the hip, closing at the hip. And opening up the hips. So remember, your breath is coming into your upper body. Breathing in and breathing out. Keep going. See if we can do that 4 more times. And less if you need to. So if it becomes too challenging, just take a rest or make it smaller even. It doesn't need to be big. And I think we've got 1 more to do. So the knee's going to go behind you, and then bring your knee forward. Oh, and drop it down gently. Drop it down in front of your top hip. Roll your top hip way away from your bottom hip. Just releasing off around your hips and feet. Just take yourself onto your back. So when you're ready, roll it over on your back. So I'm going to stretch out the legs a little bit here. So lying on your back. So again, if you want to, you can put your head on a block. Cushion, hold it up tight if you want a little bit of support for the back of your neck. Otherwise, if your head's on the floor, as mine is going to be, just make sure that the back of your neck feels open, so I'm not tipping my head back. Find that balance across your shoulders, knees are bent, feet flat on the floor. Heels, knees and hip bones in alignment. Shoulder blades are wide across your back. They're settling into the mat. So if you remember, we're just going to do that little tip and tilt of your pelvis. So tuck your tailbone under. So feel your lower back imprinting onto the floor. Arch it away. So you feel almost like balancing on your tailbone. So you've got a big gap underneath your lower back. And then just gently settle the very lower part of your back onto that. So coming into that position in between that tip and the tilt. So we should feel level across the hips, the pelvic bone and your belly button. And then we just have that drawing in through your center, feeling and that lifting up. So you've got that support around you, ready to stabilize your spine and to stabilize your pelvis. Turn your palms inwards to face your hips, thumbs towards the ceiling. Breathe in. As you breathe out, the left leg is going to reach away towards the bottom edge mat. At the same time, reach your right arm back in line with your ear behind you. Breathing in, slowly bring the foot back in next to your right foot, hip width apart, and then the same, the right leg and the left arm reaching away. Slowly bring them back in. So just keep everything else really still, your neck, your shoulders, your spine, your hips, and use your breath. So nice long leg, nice long arm. If you don't want to extend your leg fully, if you feel that you start to move your lower back, if you extend your leg fully, then maybe just keep a little bend in the knee as you reach your leg away. Nice long arm, nice long leg. Keep going with that. Let's just see if we can do 1 more each side. right leg, left arm by your side, foot comes back in. So we should be in exactly that same position where we started. So your palms are still facing inwards, palms to ceiling. Keep your neck long. As you breathe, let's take both of the arms back towards the floor behind you, not too far back. We're trying to keep the ribs drawing down to the hips, and then just circle your arms wide to the side and pull your arms in towards your hips. Breathing in. And breathing out, big, big arm circles. So we can do one more like that. And you can stay with this if you want to. Otherwise, let's build on that. We're going to do a little bit of work through our upper abdominals. So breathe in, your arms are going to go back in line with your ears. As you breathe out, start to lift your head and peel your shoulders off the mat as you circle your arms wide to the side and draw them in towards your hips. Breathing in, shoulder width apart, your arms go back, your shoulders, your head go back down onto the floor. Exhale, pull the arms wide, scooping in through your center, so keep the navel drawing in, and then slowly coming back down. Try and keep your waist long, try not to let your tailbone tuck under as you curl up, so you don't need to come up as high as me, you might not be able to. Otherwise, we're trying to just come up onto our tips of our shoulder blades, so you should be just peeping just over your knees. So lots of work in those upper core, still making sure we're still maintaining that connection, that engagement of our lower abdominals. So we're still drawing in our belts and zipping up our trousers. And how many more can we do? Let's do 3 more. Try and keep the space in between your chin and your chest all the while. So keeping our neck supported all the time. And we just got one more big curl up to do. Curling up, look over your knees, and let's take the arms back. Head and shoulders are going to stay down now. Just reach your arms wide to the side and just gently let your arms settle. Let them rest lightly on the mat down by your side. So again, we should be back where we started. Let's slide our heels in a little bit closer to your sit bones. Let's do our bridges next. So moving maybe more to the back of the body, the back of the legs and the glutes now. So just have your arms resting lightly on the mat down by your sides. Just feel your shoulder blades are still wide across your back there, settling into the mat. If you had to put anything behind your head, like a cushion or folded up towel or anything, just slip that away. Make sure your head's on the mat, not on any head support, but still keep the chin slightly tucked in. So maybe our hands are about, heels about a hand distance away from our sit bones here, feet flat on the floor. Breathe in, as you breathe out, that little tuck under with your tailbone, then you squeeze your glutes, and then we're slowly going to, if you can, don't need to come all the way up, if you can, just peel your spine off the mat, coming onto your shoulders, making sure your hips are level. Breathe in, as you breathe out, slowly coming back down again. So it's up to you how much of your spine you peel away from. You might just want to do those little pelvic tips and tilts, keeping most of your spine on the mat. Otherwise, we're coming all the way up, so that articulation of your spine. And again, we're trying to think symmetrical, both sides of the body, so we're not dipping to one side or the other. We're keeping our knees hip width apart all the while. Slowly coming back down. Let's do that once more. So you just push your knees forward a little bit, push into your feet. Slowly coming back down. So this is a really nice sequence for mobilizing the spine, strengthening the spine, hamstrings and glutes. So if you can stay with that. Otherwise, let's see if we can just stay up in our bridge. Now press firmly into your feet, like we did with our arms circles. Just turn your palms in to face each other. Your thumbs are pointing to the ceiling. So if you feel you start to drop your hips, come out of your bridge. Otherwise, let's breathe in. As you breathe, just let your right arm go up towards the ceiling, towards the floor behind you. And breathing in, bring it back down by your side. Then your left arm, keep your glutes squeezing tight. So keep your hips high. So just that little reach back with alternate arms. One more with your left arm. And then, only if you feel you want to, let's take both of the arms back. Just tap your thumbs onto the floor. Bring the arms down. See if we can do that 3 more times. Come out of your bridge if you need to, or do single arms one at a time. So really good work for your back, squeezing your glutes tight all the while. Last time. Float your arms back down, turn your palms to face the floor, rest your arms, your hands on the floor, and very slowly release your spine down onto the mat. Let's have a little bit of release. Bring your knees in towards your chest one at a time. Let's give them a hug. So now you just should feel your spine is imprinted onto the mat. Just take a little gentle rock from side to side. Just a little bit of a stretch in your hips as we bring the knees in. And then one at a time, let's put our feet back down on the floor. So let's go back to focusing a little bit more on our hips again, glutes and legs a little bit. So we're going to do one knee circles. So put your arms by your sides, palms facing downwards. Make sure your shoulder blades are wide, push your back on the mat. Your neck is long, chin slightly tucked in. Head on a block, folded up towel cushion if you want to. And then breathe in, engage your abdominals again, pull them in, lift them up to support your spine, and then bring your left knee over your hip to a tabletop position. And try not to flex your foot, just relax the foot so the toes are just very softly pointed. And then just imagine you've got that pencil just sitting on top of your left kneecap. We're just going to draw circles on the ceiling with that pencil. So breathe in. As you breathe out, we're going to circle that knee away from the midline of the body and breathe in as it comes across. And we're going to do that, if you can, 7 more times. So we're doing 8 in total. And 6, so go really slowly, making sure that the hips aren't rocking from side to side. They're completely still. Put your hands on your hip bones if you're not sure. If they're rocking from side to side, just make those circles just that little bit smaller. Try and relax your upper body, shoulders, chest. Let's do that twice more. So try not to go fast, keep it nice and slow. And then let's go the other way, unwind your circles. Try not to let your right knee wander, it stays pointing up towards the ceiling. And your right foot should be light as a feather on the floor. So we're not pressing into your right foot. Everything else is still. So we're just building up strength around the hips, around your glutes. And again, still working on our core muscles. So it's always when we're engaging those core muscles, when we're using them, we're of course strengthening them. And let's do that one more last time. Then just hug your left knee in towards your chest and circle your left ankle. A few circles one way and a few circles the other way. Just releasing off any tension around your foot, your ankle. Let's put the left foot down. Just check we're in a really nice posture here again. Alignment with your heels, your knees, and your hips. And then let's do the same, right knee. Keep the knee bent, so we're not doing circles, we're doing leg circles and knee circles today. So that pencil now on top of your right knee. Just again, just softly point your toe. Pull in through your abdominals, pull in, lift up, so support your spine, pelvis, breathe in. As you breath off, we go. Let's start to draw those circles on the ceiling. That pencil that's just sitting on top of your knee. Again, try not to tense up the shoulders, the chest. So if we remember our breaths coming into the sides of our rib cage rather than into your belly, but still breathing deeply right to the base of your lungs, so filling up with air and slowly breathing it out. So try and breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth if you can. Don't worry too much about your breathing as long as you're breathing. Just getting that mobility around our hips. Arms light on the floor. Again, that left knee, try not to let it wander anywhere, but without pressing into your left foot. Shall we unwind those circles now? Let's take them around the other way. Gently, smoothly. Anytime you need to, hug your knee in. Keep going if you're happy to. Maybe we're on our last one there. And then again, as you did on the other side, just hug your right knee nice and close to your chest if you can. Circle your right ankle, a few circles one way, and then a few circles the other way. Then put your right foot on the floor next to your left foot, knees and feet hip width apart. Slide your arms a little bit wider than your mat. Turn your palms upwards to face the ceiling. Lengthen your neck. Arms and shoulders are glued to the floor. hip rolls, just to finish off, just a little bit of mobility, a little bit of work through your waist. So keep your knees and your feet hip width apart. As you breathe in, just let your knees fall over to the left, and just very gently turn your head to the right. As you breathe out, pull the knees up so they're facing the ceiling, as is your eye gaze. Breathing in, knees drop over to the right, so just trying to get that left hip slightly off the floor, almost completely off the floor, depending on how far you can drop your knees over to the side. So just use those waist muscles. Exhale, pull the knees in, and go the other way, they fall away, and pull them back in. Let's do a couple more of those each side. So we can probably do lots and lots of these, so it's just a nice gentle movement. A twist in your spine, mobility into your neck as well. Just try not to let your head hang backwards at all, at all. So last time, the knees are just going to fall away to the right as your head turns to the left. And then just gently bring your knees to face the ceiling, look up at the ceiling. Let's just float our arms, keep your feet flat on the floor. Just slowly bring your arms right up over your shoulders, shoulder blades wide across your back on the mat. Fingertips seeing palms facing inwards. As you breathe in, let's just reach the right fingertips up towards you. So your right shoulder blade is lifting off the floor. As you breathe out, keep that shoulder blade wide and just drop it back down onto the mat. Breathing in, your left fingertips reach up, so you're lifting or peeling your left shoulder blade off the floor. Keep it wide. Exhale, release it down. So just trying to release any tension you might be holding as we drop the shoulder blade back down. It just relaxes onto the mat. Last time, left fingertips reach them up, and then slowly drop the shoulder down. Take your arms towards the floor behind you as you breathe in. As you breathe out, circle your arms wide to the side, bring them in towards your hips. Lift your feet off the floor one at a time, bring your knees in towards your chest. Then we're going to come up to seated. If you want to put your feet back on the floor, go on your side to bring yourself up, do that. Otherwise, just slide your hands behind your thighs, just widen that space a little bit behind your knees, pull in your tummy, and if you're happy to, just roll yourself up to seated. Let's sit really nice and tall. Stretch the back of the legs and our spines first of all. So sit if you can with your legs long, pin them together, flex your feet so your toes are pointing up towards the ceiling, your heels are on the floor, long neck, long spine. Breathe in, let's reach our arms up in line with the ears, bend your knees if that's too uncomfortable with your legs straight. On your exhale, we're just going to fold ourselves over our legs, so just reach your hands towards your toes or maybe your shins or your knees, depending how flexible you are in your hips. Then breathe in, as you unfold yourself, arms towards the ceiling. And then just take your arms wide to the side and bring your arms down by the side of the hips. Then if you can, just cross your legs. Or keep your legs long if you don't like crossing your legs, if that's uncomfortable in your hips, just to keep your legs extended long with a little softness in your knees. Hands on the floor down by your sides, long spine. Let's do our side bend, left arm up and over, just trying to bend a little bit into your right elbow, but without lifting your left sit bone off the floor. Arm comes down, let's go the other way. Oh, your left arm, oh no, your right arm comes up and over. And bring the arm back down by your side. Let us bring our arms forward. Just circle your arms in front of you. Interlace your fingers like you've got a big beach ball sitting in your lap and you're wrapping your arms around that beach ball. Pull the tummy in, tuck your chin, tuck your tail under. Just feeling your shoulder blades widen across your back. Then on your next inhale, as we're next breathing in, we're going to slowly open our arms wide to the side. Sit really nice and tall and just take a look up at the ceiling. Try and lift your chest if you can. Maybe pull the arms slightly behind you. And then slowly just straighten your spine. Bring your hands together over your head and slowly slide your hands down towards your chest. Thumbs towards your breastbone. Breathe in. As you breathe out, just take a little bow forward. So just bring your chest forwards towards the floor. And then just unfold yourself, sitting really nice and tall at the top. Arms down by your sides, roll your shoulders, uncross your legs if you happen to cross your legs, and shake them all out, just releasing off any tension. And then well done. Thank you very much for joining me today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank goodness the weather's looking a little bit better.